selamat malam semuanya. Meru Meru belum selesai makan tapi nanti aja dilanjutin ya. Meru nggak mau ngunyah di stream, enak kedengerannya. Anyway, gimana kabar kalian? Sehat-sehat semua? Halo, selamat malam. Gimana kabar kalian? Sehat semua kah? Sehat. Good. Sehat 120%, very good. Sehat. Selamat malam. Selamat datang yang baru datang. Good. Kalau misalnya kalian sehat berarti good. Jangan lupa jaga kesehatan terus ya. Jangan lupa makan malam yang belum makan. Jangan lupa minum yang belum minum. Sekarang lagi panas-panasnya, walaupun Meru tahu ada di beberapa daerah yang udah udan lagi, tapi tetap jangan lupa minum, jangan lupa makan, jangan lupa stretching. Tuh punggung perhatiin. Gimana kabar Meru? Kabar Meru baik-baik aja. Terima kasih sudah bertanya. Meru baik kok. Meru barusan makan makanan enak, jadi mood Meru lagi bagus. Tempatku dari kemarin hujan kan, bener udah mulai hujan. Di sini nggak cuma kena ghosting gelap tapi nggak hujan-hujan, kasihan. Seenggaknya nggak terik kan? Seenggaknya nggak panas kan? Which is good, right? Bagus kan, nggak panas-panas banget. Daripada membakar kulit ketika keluar. Tapi Meru nggak tahu ya, soalnya Meru nggak keluar sama sekali. Meru mau main apa? Jadi ini ada game namanya The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Harusnya muncul sih di layar. Ya, ini gamenya tentang memecahkan misteri sebagai apa sih namanya, pengacara. Ya. Kita di sini tugasnya sebagai pengacara setengah detektif karena kita juga harus mecahin kasusnya selagi di pengadilan. Tugasnya agak banyak ya, teman. Apa namanya? Ini game beneran asik kok. Dingin jadinya Meru ya, pakai jaket dong. Untungnya anginnya lumayan sejuk ya. Bagus dong, bagus. Meru lebih suka apa namanya, dingin daripada panas tuh. Nggak tahan Meru sama panas. Ya, Meru hari ini jadi pengacara. Selamat malam yang baru datang. Selamat datang. Anyway, kita mulai aja karena seinget Meru bagian kedua dari kasus kita kemarin itu lumayan panjang, jadi kita langsung mulai aja. Tapi sebelumnya Meru mau review sedikit tentang apa yang terjadi di kejadian sebelumnya, yaitu kita main sebagai Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Panggilannya Ryunosuke atau Naruhodo, I guess. Dia ini adalah mahasiswa dari Universitas Yume University kalau nggak salah. Dia baru aja dituduh karena sebagai pelaku pembunuhan profesornya. Jujur namanya Meru agak lupa karena Meru keingetnya sama nama aslinya. Harusnya John H. Watson, cuman karena namanya masih di copyright, jadi ada nama yang yang sebenarnya dipakai di gamenya, cuma Meru agak lupa. Terus dia ditemani oleh temannya kan mulai lupakan sama nama karakternya. Dia ditemani sama temannya yang akan Meru tunjukkan filenya habis namanya habis ini. Dan mereka berusaha untuk membuktikan bahwa sebenarnya bukan Ryunosuke yang ngebunuh, tapi ada orang lain, orang ketiga yang baru saja identitasnya terbongkar di di pengadilan, yaitu seorang English woman dengan nama Break, I think. Anyway, without further ado, let's kita continue. Yes. Meru tahu summary-nya Meru tadi sama sekali tidak membantu, tapi nggak apa-apa, harusnya kalian. Ya, court record. Please let me see the people. Ini teman kita, Kazuma Asogi. Ini teman. Terus habis itu ini tidak penting, ini lawan kita. Terus ada John H. Wilson, ini korbannya. Dia ditembak langsung di dadanya, straight to the chest. Bleeding internally, no exit wound. Jadi pelurunya tidak keluar dari badannya dia. Dia ini awalnya ngaku-ngaku sebagai pelayan, tapi kita berhasil membuktikan bahwa sebenarnya pekerjaan dia itu bukan pelayan tapi undercover police. Terus habis itu ini ada surgeon yang bawa bayinya ke pengadilan, sama ada Kyuroyo Krokuta yang punya Raste sedang mencari koin emasnya yang hilang kemarin waktu kejadian. Dan buat kalian yang pertama kali mampir ke stream Meru yang di sini, Meru biasanya nge-voice act semuanya. Jadi Meru minta maaf kalau Meru harus take break kayak once in a while buat minum karena tenggorokan Meru nggak kuat. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you're grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you'd started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Selamat malam. Forget it, it's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss Giselle Brett. A student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start! Dr. Wilson wasn't alone! There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along! Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observations are one thing I am sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman, thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seemed. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself, then on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor, and just after I bent down and picked it up, I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking about the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shot in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Professor Mikotoba! Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system, even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What? What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma! Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man. Oh, pressure. To me? Yeah. You need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in the restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? Selamat malam! If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at Yume. It was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. Let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I have no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you! Noted. I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. Bo! Defendant Naruhodo! Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Partner? Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow before those old fossils know what hits them. Kazuma? What? Thank you. Really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believe me, then I'm fairly sure I already have been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Duh! This is so cute. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. Okay, let's go trial one more time. Mari kita bergelut di pengadilan. Halo, selamat malam. Maaf ya Meru, cuman bisa kayak terjemahin atau ngomong kayak tentang kasusnya gitu tuh nanti waktu bagian waktu bagian di mana Meru harus mikir tentang porsi mikirnya, karena itu Meru ada waktu buat ngomong tentang so far apa yang kita punya, fakta yang kita tahu dan segala macamnya, itu nanti Meru baru bisa terjemahin. Jadi kalau misalnya kalian nggak paham sama dialognya nggak apa-apa, nanti dengerin Meru voice acting aja. Yeah. The court hereby resumes the trial of Yunosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Ochi, have you managed to subpoena the witness?
Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government.
Sorry. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about.
It's highly unlikely that good relations we've forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. But you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation founders?
Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nation is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on.
Tokusatsu kayak Kamen Rider gitu-gitu kah? Meru cuman tahu sedikit banget, cuman gara-gara teman Meru suka retweet Kamen Rider di TL Meru. Tapi selain itu Meru nggak tahu apa-apa. Maaf ya.
You really have nothing to worry about, Yunosuke.
What do you mean?
A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England?
Shut up! Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy! You and your friend know nothing! Nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in! By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong! Diplomacy has never been more critical! Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures!
I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student and one who could arguably study harder too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there is one thing that I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Well said, Yunosuke. Despite the wide-eyed look of terror.
You little brats!
Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from the Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett.
Yes! Your Excellency! Aduh, tenggorokan Meru sakit ngomong sebagai Auci. What is that hat? Topi apa? Meru lupa topinya dia aneh banget. Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan and from such a distant land.
Tea! Someone bring English tea! In England, no discussion take place without the tea! Is that true? No idea.
So, belum. Kita belum waktunya diskusi. Could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court?
Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working undercover as the head...
Yes, we know all about you already.
Itu tapi nggak berat kadang saya nggak tahu. Meru juga bingung. Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today you said something to me. You said your powers of observations are the one thing you're sure of. Oh, yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Yunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of descriptions are sorely lacking.
guilty. So, dear lucky lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupations, please. Meru nggak tahu kamu ngomong apa. Meru nggak tahu kamu ngomong apa. Meru nggak tahu kamu ngomong apa. Pakai bahasa Jepang dong. I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but what? Kok kan British? Meru. Ya nanti habis ini. Kalau dia udah ngomongnya bener. Oh, Hosanaga penerjemah kah?
The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She is a visiting research student, currently enrolled in Yume University's medical faculty.
Semua yang pada nggak ngerti, makanya unjuk salah negara. Ini kita terima tamu dari Inggris, bukan dari Prancis. Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people.
Enggak ya, bahasa Inggris itu jelek ya.
I'm afraid I don't understand the word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird song.
As far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough.
Yes, I agree.
You obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Yunosuke. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if it may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called La Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time.
I mean, pernah disebutin sih di di salah satu dialog mereka. I think kalau misalnya mereka juga belajar bahasa Inggris di di universitas mereka. Jadi understandable kalau misalnya mereka ngerti.
Is that correct? She says yes. This could take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can speak in Japanese. She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting, when you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following orders from the bureau.
Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? That, seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps?
Halo, selamat datang.
Apparently, it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say? Yes, it would appear that the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood.
Wadaw! Tertuduh lagi!
Order the court!
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement!
Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is.
Grace ada ekornya, iya.
Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described.
Meru tapi suka desainnya Giselle Brett, honestly.
I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor and they got into a fierce argument. Then, long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit.
Okay, interesting.
No, I didn't have any kind of arguments with the professor at all!
Quiet, you filthy wretch! Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard, and look at this snow-white angel! I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can't imagine whose words the court is going to believe!
You're still making the same mistake, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying! Of course, I was at the scene myself. I took statements from this lady and the two witnesses who testified before and reported back to the bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimony of the last two witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so, on the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm.
Are you sure about that? Itu rok gede banget loh. Dia bisa nyembunyiin sesuatu di balik rok itu loh. Makanya!
I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in the outfit if she wanted to.
Unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot.
There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witnesses' own words on the matter.
Ah, that's ridiculous! If only I was allowed to live... If only I was allowed to live up her dress, I could prove it!
Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke.
But I didn't fire the gun I picked up! There must have been another gun there that day!
You're right about that, which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart.
Oh, look at that smile! Look at that smile! Suspicious sekali senyummu, kakak!
The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Yes, Your Excellency.
Adi tuh senyumnya sekali. Oh my god.
I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day.
Mereka janjian buat makan bareng, buat makan siang bareng. Giselle sama Dr. Wilson. Profesornya nggak bisa makan, jadi dia pesan sendiri beef steak. Setelah itu tersangka datang untuk menyapa profesornya dan mereka berantem. Lalu nggak lama kemudian tersangka ngambil senjatanya profesor lalu nembak dia tepat di depan mataku. Aku nggak bawa senjata sendiri, jadi aku bukan pelakunya. Oke, kita coba press yang ini dulu. Oh, Like I said, I did not shoot that gun! And like I said, there's no point repeating that assertion over and over! Oh, I wasn't expecting to be attacked by my own side.
Nevertheless, defending, you can't deny that when the shot rang out in the restaurant, you had a gun in your hand.
Well, yes, that's true, but... But all I did was pick up the gun I saw on the floor next to the professor as I was leaving the restaurant. In fact, yes! There was someone much closer to the victim than me at that time, the highly suspicious...
That will do, you dirty rotten scoundrel!
Dirty?
You baseless accusation could very well cause an international incident. Boy!
It seems to me that your accusation is just as baseless as ours.
What nonsense! The lady is merely stating what she saw.
And this is already an international incident as far as I'm concerned anyway.
Coba tanya, kamu dengar nggak soal berantemnya?
I never got into an argument with the professor. All I did when I noticed him was go over to say hello. Please, don't get angry with me. No, I wasn't directing that retort at you. It was meant for the lady next to you. But anyway, as I said, I did not argue with the professor. I'm afraid your words are in vain.
Sorry?
Miss Brett does not appear to speak Japanese.
No, of course not. Japanese is such a cumbersome language and...
Hey, itu bahasa aku sendiri ya!
English is the future, we must also speak English!
I wonder if the prosecution will feel that way forever or only in the presence of a beautiful woman, Well, that beautiful woman is telling little lies with a completely straight face. I have to find something that will unravel her testimony, no matter how seemingly insignificant it may be. Anyway, it seems that after the argument, the accused briefly returned to his own seat. That part ties in with what you said, doesn't it? Yes, I still have some coffee to drink. And the next time you got up after that was when I finished my coffee and stood up to leave. God, that smile so sus.
Japanese jozo desu ne, yeah.
Apa ya? Let's see. Meru nggak punya. He was unable to eat, you say. And that was because he just had a tooth removed at the Hota clinic, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. She had heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the stick picture here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying event. Exactly as it was left?
Dear me, what a harrowing experience. To have traveled to a distant island on the far side of the world and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. I have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil of you that subjected you to this terrible plight.
So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all. That's right, other than some carbonated water. Just water? Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water.
So it appears that the dinners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each.
They are each raised a glass of carbonated water.
What do you think, Ryunosuke, about the witness last statement?
Very meaningful, tambahin. The last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing to this case. Well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing, Oke. Kenapa itu jadi masalah? Meru tunjukin ya. Tadi mereka bilang mereka toast to each other dengan menggunakan segelas air. Tapi di sini cuma ada satu gelas. Jadi ini kayaknya bukan meja mereka. Ada kemungkinan. Gitu.
Oh no. The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right.
Gelasnya hilang satu ya. Antara statementnya Giselle Brett bohong atau ini bukan mejanya mereka. Ada antara dua itu. Kayak gelasnya cuma satu, bukan dua. Padahal Giselle Brett bilang kalau misalnya dia sama profesornya toast to each other.
The defense calls for the witness last statement to be formally added to the testing.
Let's step counsel.
Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm going to remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Ryunosuke.
Mukanya asal lagi. Oke. Let's see. Present.
Kamu tahu sendirian.
Present.
That's it! Let me just confirm something, please.
It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left.
That is correct, the lady says.
Well, that is it's odd, very odd. Damn me, what's odd is the defense's inability to express itself.
Yunosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you?
Well, obviously it's the cheers.
The
cheers?
Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor had cheers over a glass of water.
But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1.
You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over miniature? Hello. What possible difference does the presence of absence a glass make on the case?
Miniature, you say? Could it be that the reflective hair removed the glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not! I will never do something so reckless.
But there should have been 2 glasses on the table! Or are you going to try to tell me you can clean with only 1?
You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table.
What?
It was all so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she says. Good gracious!
Jadi gelasnya sekarang mana?
Sorry. Jadi gelasnya di mana sekarang? Katanya kamu ini pakaianmu kemarin. Jadi gelasnya mana sekarang? There's I served the court before. This is of no consequence at all.
Oh, please.
We must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon company before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or two in her state of disarray?
That's absurd.
Oh, really? So, do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable, young, and beautiful woman of mischief?
Meru malah pikir dia taruh di roknya.
No. This can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. It would seem that she slipped into the small handbag she was carrying. A handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England.
So, the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end, it comes to nothing.
Dia udah balancing dia udah balancing angsa di apa namanya di atas kepalanya gitu.
No more pretentious accusation. You have wasted enough time already.
Indeed, that the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed this glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement?
Well, I don't know really.
If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance.
Yes, you're right.
So she took the glass away in her handbag. If there is a deeper significance there,
It's a handbag. Kan tadi dia bilang dia nggak ada tempat buat nyembunyain senjata. Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say?
Yes, you try to give up? It's already been explained to the court that all English women gentlewomen carry handbags for small items.
Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag. In which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun.
you're right. Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that too.
What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard?
It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire that gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will.
You can't be seriously be suggesting.
Inspector Hosonaga.
Yes?
Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder?
No, sir, I did not.
I thought. In other words, another gun, and not the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag.
No!
Order, order, order!
What is the meaning of this, Inspector?
The meaning of what, Prosecutor Aochi?
Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations!
Well, she is the killer, though. Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Kazuma?
Osana gak minum!
Aduh. Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly, you have no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting, simply because it was unnecessary.
Unnecessary in what way?
I ought to send this to the lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten. This photographic print. This print of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never. You can see right through to what's inside. That's right. Apparently, matchwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. So contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. Ah! As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping prove that, Naruhodo-san. Wah! You good, bro? You good? Bukan. Order! Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once. Certainly, Your Excellency.
Okay. There's something weird about the print though. Sebentar, sabar. Loh, nggak sabaran nih orang-orang. Itu tanda apa? Kayak the devil. Tandanya the devil. Bentar. Oh. Tandanya hot plate-nya. Tapi dia bukan yang makan. Gimana sih? Kok bisa ada tandanya?
I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, Counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted into the court appears to have no further significance, I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling.
Indeed, and there is only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slum over the branch over us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime. Yuk, semangat Yunosuke yuk. Yuk, semangat Yunosuke yuk.
No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around, I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Yunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it?
I must say you put up quite a fight for a rookie student. But the weak are meat while the strong eat. You are wasting your time. There is no way to defeat true justice. A fact that you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of yourself.
This can be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma, his dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma, what? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You have heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph of the detective produced that we can contest, which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling.
It seems we will be able to report to the British government on time after all.
Such smuggle. Yunosuke Naruto, having considered all of the evidence placed before me, I hereby find...
Oh, nice! Wait, Your Excellency!
Yunosuke?
I don't think you can rule on this case yet. This amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of all courtrooms.
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now, that means that if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail, their ruling on the case in this time will be out of the question.
This is blatant stroke watching. Look at this photographic pin. All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence.
You'd better know what you're doing, Yunosuke. I understand your objection, Katsu. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag.
Ha! My thought exactly. Really? The prosecution is becoming tired of these roguish desperate wheezes.
Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. Well, I could put my finger on it.
Kelihatan kok, Yunosuke, jelas banget kok. Di depan mata kita semua kok.
Very well, I will grant the defense one final opportunity.
What?
But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded.
Bisa gerakin pakai mouse aja nggak? Thank you. Okay. Present.
Look at this here. It's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Damn me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come up with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly that has nothing whatsoever to do with this magnificent lady's handbag!
Yes, that is a burn mark, you're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report.
What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either.
No, that's where you are wrong.
Itu di mana kamu salah, Oji? This is why you're always losing!
The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, as the prosecutor author points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this bird. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now.
Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway. Kamu tuh judge-nya atau prosecutor si Auci ih? Makanya emang udah takdirnya dia kayaknya buat selalu jadi korbannya apa namanya the Naruhodos, the rights.
What's your thinking on this, Rinosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. If I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging into the hope that I might uncover something useful. Emang kalau misalnya apa namanya Auci dan apa namanya cucu-cucunya mereka itu selalu sangat-sangat bias against pretty lady. Kayak bahkan kayak ada at one point dia tuh kayak pernah kayak aku berani bertaruh nyawaku untuk mempercayai lady itu. Sampai to the point sampai kayak gitu di salah satu case yang di apa namanya di gamenya yang trilogi. Jadi ya Auci emang sim, a big sim, otaknya nggak dipakai. Begitulah.
Yes, you're right.
I am?
If we can just link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to prise the shutting door back open again.
Just give up until you can possibly hope to do that.
Indeed, I'm afraid that without evidence, I can allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture.
Merasa terserang kamu Auci.
But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then would you allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face.
Really?
I have to find some link between that burn and the case.
Oke, jadi sekarang kita cari apa namanya evidence. Well, Meru udah tahu sih. Tadi kan Meru udah nunjukin.
This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means.
Okay, thank you.
So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates the inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial.
It's this one. Yeah, look at that. Sangat jelas. R.
What's this, Consul? Yet another print. Yes, Your Excellency, I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in the photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore.
Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further really would be quite inexcusable.
Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
You can fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the record exactly what you mean. Auchi, kamu buta kah? What is in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
It's like literally right over there.
Itu lo ada di situ, Auchi. Kamu matamu dipakai gak sih, Auchi? The beef.
Actually, the point is the metal plate that the steak was served on. The plate. Ah!
Your Excellency, are you alright?
As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of Le Carnival. This emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn are exactly the same shape. Yunosuke, you genius! You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Lagunya asik banget! But even if that was the case, we cannot even happen on the day in question or not! It could have been the day before or the day before that! It most likely happened at some other unrelated time!
Well, Sadly, Prosecutor Ochi, the chances of that are extremely slim.
Thanks. Why?
The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the resort. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defendants just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the blade was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of the La Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation.
But you're a detective, not a waiter! Yeah, the great ace attorney.
There you have it! Something isn't right here! As the detective said, anyone who burned themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet, Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any before it. That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. Sorry, suggest. Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds on the day, that would be beyond careless, I think, also. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the surgeon, and the old antique dealer, all of us would, without no question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Aochi?
Huh? Well, yes, I suppose.
So then the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Yunosuke, do you think... Can it really be true? I never dreamed we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led to a terrible trap.
Oh? Apa nih? Ceritain dong ke Meru nggak nyambung, kalian ngomongin apa?
There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. upon the day of the question, when he suffered a burn on his wrist, Dr. Wilson
has already deceased. I think kalau misalnya orang tidur pun juga pasti ngerasa nggak sih?
no man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible. Apart from in one particular situation. Consul, are you suggesting? Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead.
Already.
Dead? Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation.
Oh, look at that! Finally, the cleanest slam! Wah, gatal!
When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead.
That's madness! Bukan zombie.
Order, please! Cause explain this absurd notion at once! Victim was killed by a gunshot!
That's right! That's absolutely right, Your Excellency! This is just another ridiculous lie by a rookie student! Clearly he has no grasp of the facts!
No, Prosecutor Auchi, it's you who has no grasp of the facts.
I beg your pardon?
As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered the burn while at the restaurant,
Meru suka banget sama sama Ace Attorney soalnya. Kayak Meru Meru tuh ngikutin dari awal yang trilogi kan. Jadi sebelum The Great Ace Attorney keluar itu Meru udah kayak ngikutin sebelum The Great Ace Attorney itu diumumin terjemahannya, itu Meru udah ngikutin Ace Attorney gitu kan. Jadi kayak Meru suka banget sama Ace Attorney. Dan kayak this kind of game itu yang Meru suka banget. Udah membuktikan fakta, puzzle, terus habis itu investigation, all of this. Itu udah favoritnya Meru banget. Kita bahkan belum sampai bagian yang favoritnya Meru banget. Kita belum sampai situ. Tapi Meru pengen segera ke sana, tapi masalahnya kita harus pelan-pelan ya. Jadi kalau misalnya Meru kedengerannya kayak sangat passionate about the voice acting ya karena Meru emang really love this game. I really do. Kasihan tenggorokannya Meru. Iya, tenggorokannya Meru dying setiap ngomong pakai suaranya Auchi. Mirip Guanyu. Guanyu itu yang tokoh dari legendanya Cina itu enggak sih? Ya enggak sih? Ya emang vibe ya hakim. Honestly Meru suka banget sama stylenya hakim yang ini sih. Soalnya hakim-hakim yang lain bosenin honestly. And we're happy. Nice. Drinking them, I see.
this case has turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knew something about it. Incredible. I certainly did not anticipate this twist of events.
Jangan lupa minum. Iya. Tadi Meru minum kok dari tadi.
I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement.
Your Excellency!
The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Sus? Sus? Sus?
What was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours.
Ternyata selama ini bisa bahasa Jepang! Miss Brett, you speak Japanese?
Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country after all. But why have you been speaking through the interpreter until now?
Sampai case yang ini selesai seenggaknya.
My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. Oh, but since the men in this land possess none of us chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen,
So I can see that I shall have to lower myself
to communicating with you all on your own level.
Well, you are the epitome of true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us. Auci, kamu nggak punya harga diri kah? Kamu bosan dibilangin rendahan loh. Auci!
I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of Dr. Wilson.
Hello.
So, we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Yunosuke.
You can say that again. The victim's death. Okay.
Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burned his face like that. But the waiter brought my steak. The professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there is some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's very investigative techniques probably won't pick up on it anyway.
Yikes! Oh, wow, rude! Kasar banget, jahat, oh my god! Just have some dignity! Harga dirimu mana?
That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it. I hope that this is the last time I will have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone.
Heh, aku merasa tersinggung ya, padahal aku bukan orang Jepang. Kacau nih. No chill. Yang masuk yang itunya, yang judge-nya sama prosecutornya. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, Gillette. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant.
I will be speaking to your country's Ministry of Justice about what has happened here today.
The Ministry of Justice?
May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen.
Huh?
Thanks. Was that a prayer then? Well, you have to forgive the irritation, Miss Pratt, and put up with the cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much.
Kazuma! Kazuma!
I'm sure I don't need to remind you, Consul, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness testimony, I will be ruling out the case immediately. Is that clear? Yes, Your Excellency. And you may proceed with the cross-examination.
Sayangnya aku nggak tahu kapan Dr. H. Wilson ngebakar pergelangannya seperti itu. Ketika waiternya bawa steakku, Profesor dan aku raise our glass in a toast. Mengangkat gelas kita untuk toast. As far as I've heard, the postmortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. Okay. Jadi sejauh yang aku dengar, postmortem report bilang tidak ada kemungkinan kematian lain selain gunshotnya. Kalau misalnya ada cara lain, hidupnya seseorang bisa diambil tanpa meninggalkan jejak, beritahu saya. Tapi tentu saja, negara ini investigatifnya, investigatif teknik investigasinya bahkan nggak bakalan tahu. Let's press on that
without leaving a trace. If someone is shot or strangled or stabbed or thrown from a height, however, a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body.
Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has surely examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga?
As I've said, I always aim for flawless investigation. There will be physical traces of all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark.
If,
heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it?
Oh no, Paris is all killing such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. On my honor, I, Taketsuji Ochi, will cut down any who dare cast such appreciation.
A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here. Yes, evidence.
Well, Meru tahu sih kayaknya, cuman cara buktikannya gimana? Enggak. Medical reportnya bilang katanya dia cause of death-nya karena peluru yang ditembak dalam jarak dekat. Jadi bukan itu.
Yes, it's written here on the paperwork. Final hemorrhage from ballistic trauma.
Yes. Luckily for all of us, the little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there were no signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life.
But it doesn't make sense! The burn must have happened straight away when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter! Yes, that's true. If it had cooled down even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that.
Persidangan ini bertemu titik terang. Well, kind of. Kita nemu clue baru, cuman kayak Meru kayaknya tahu, cuman kayak otak Meru tuh udah lompat sampai ke conclusionnya, sampai ke hasil akhirnya duluan, tapi Meru nggak tahu cara kesananya gimana. Karena kita masih belum punya that decisive evidence gitu loh.
And if the victim burns his wrist from the hot place as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must have had already been dead at that point.
And yet, the fact that victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest, until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time.
Well, kayaknya Meru bisa buktiin deh, sebentar. I concur. Prosecutor Aochi is right.
Ini bisa
nggak bisa itu ya, nggak bisa present orang ya. Oke, nggak kayak yang di 3 ke atas. Udah di-examine kan? Apanya ini yang udah di-examine? Tadi kita press yang ini.
Inferior? What do you mean by that?
In the lands of the great British Empire, the police saw everything found at the crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so?
Udah semua, udah Meru examine semua yang bisa di-examine ulang.
Quite right, La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident.
Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different...
Vital evidence may be lost. It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene.
Ini lagi cek testimoni ya.
Trying to be as tactful about this as I can. You understand? A killer blow. The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful.
Amazing. He's actually admitting our police might be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Aochi is finally starting to see sense. I very much thought that. Still, there's something about that. Reggie said there was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly.
Padahal gak bakal ada gitu ngejilat mulu. Dia sim, tolong dimaafkan ya. Dia dan generasi selanjutnya itu semuanya massive sim. Dia dan seluruh generasinya itu terkena 2 kutukan, yaitu is always a sim, mereka tuh selalu sim, dan yang kedua selalu kalah pada Naruhodo. Selalu kalah dengan Naruhodo, selalu pasti 1000%. Pain. Winston Pain, ha.
No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected. Just a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony or the cross-examination will be over.
Iya.
But that will mean I have to find a way. There must be some clues somewhere to find us help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I noticed, something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about this bread? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her, Inspector Hosonaga. The detective? Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant, if it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of it. Alright then, I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose. Once I press Miss Brett on her last statement.
Okay. Ini salah satu sistem yang Meru paling suka juga di Great Ace Attorney. I think ini udah diintroduce di game yang lainnya sih. Cuman waktu Meru tahu tentang sistem ini, Meru kayak wah gila, ini baru kerasa nih. Oke.
Mate.
Yes, there it is again. Detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why?
Up until now, Detective has been in the stand with Miss Pratt as her interpreter. But things are very different now.
Ya, dia batuk darah.
For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the English woman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity.
What do you mean?
When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down.
You're right. Look at him. He's lost his now thoughts.
It's time to pursue the man and his train of thought.
Sorry? Pursue?
I'll explain how to do it now, Inosuke. It's all had to do with the witness speak marker.
What marker? Oh, this marker!
At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left or right with A and G, you can turn your attention to the other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witness, you'll be able to pursue them with space. If you can catch the person just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, so I move the marker across with A and G and focus on the detective. Then pursue him with space and see what's on his mind. Here we go!
Mate.
Okay. Excuse me!
Ah! What's the meaning of this?
Minum!
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts, deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say? If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court.
What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful English woman who's testifying at the moment! If you can find fault in her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately!
Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not.
Huh?
The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness.
Yes, not to mention that the fact that he is intimately involved in the case.
Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes. If you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady's right. Our country's police practice are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Satoru Hasonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if you call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the latest remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Is that? This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it lost all its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day, our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming. I guarantee it.
Sedangkan nggak ada daripada masalah penyakit yang lagi menyebar sekarang, kayaknya dia lebih karena paru-parunya emang udah rusak deh.
I can't say I condone the witness actions, but I do understand the state in the sensitive. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence.
Yeah, new evidence. The mine. Ini harusnya wine nggak sih? The label is written in foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma?
I think it's French. This must be very expensive water.
Benar sekali.
Yes, but what does it say? And that's what I'm asking. Then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. I don't think there's anything of importance. This carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. Looks like there's a little left in the bottle. I'll use this plain water now.
You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a little sip of this to keep me going.
No, Ryunosuke, you can't do that! For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence! Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke. In more ways than one. I wonder, could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quite all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility.
Alright, there it is.
It's bread. Can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death?
Yes,
It was that bottle. It was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well, counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor.
oke. Yang ini nggak sih? Present. Nih?
What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison.
Poison?
On the day after his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Order, order, order!
Nice.
And on that day, he was sitting at the same table as the professor, and able to slip the poison into his drink. There's only one person who could have done it. Giselle Brett, it was you!
This is outrageous! To suggest such a thing without scrap of evidence! You little rookie imbecile! Have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusation could jeopardize the entire treaty?
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime. The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth.
If I may, I will silence you forever for this discourse. It is you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady!
Where did that come from? She just snapped.
Bentar, Meru minum dulu abis Auci teriak-teriak gitu. Tenggorokan Meru sakit. Meru tuh selalu nyiapin setidaknya dua botol, dua jenis minuman kalau misalnya Meru main ini. Soalnya Meru harus baca banyak banget.
I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my dear lady, but to what are you referring? I described your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not. Of course.
You did?
Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time.
I don't believe it.
Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And what did you find, Inspector? I do a test for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency.
What? Are you sure?
The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself.
No!
I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours.
I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned.
Ya makanya pentok sakit tuh.
Well, kind of, a little bit.
Wah, tapi kan besok kan juga weekend ya. Jadi Meru bisa nggak usah ngomong sama sekali besok ya. Jadi
Thank you. Thank you, Consul. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss President.
Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved.
Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further evidence to present the court at this point? Kazuma? I'm sorry, Yunosuke. I have nothing more.
Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving. Oh! Hello! Please, wait. Isn't that?
What is the meaning of this?
Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense.
Mikotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth.
Ini safe kayaknya, ya. Well, I still can continue. Yes, please save. Let's continue, karena besok weekend aja loh. Tapi sebelumnya Meru mau nyom-nyom sedikit dulu ya. Lapar. Makanan Meru tadi belum habis.
Meru tahu kok. Tapi biasanya kayak di yang trilogi kan, yang tutorialnya tuh kayak gampang banget gitu loh. Maksudnya kayak kelihatan banget gitu loh siapa pelakunya dan segala macamnya. Yang Meru bisa bilang tutorial agak susah itu punyanya yang game ketiga, yang Trials and Tribulation. Itu yang paling, yang Meru bisa bilang kayak paling bulet ya, paling aneh case-nya untuk sebuah tutorial. Sebut nama kamu, Tono dong. Nah, Meru, ya Meru lagi makan. Tadi waktu makanan Meru tuh sampai kayak 10 menit sebelum stream mulai. Jadi Meru belum bisa lanjut, belum habis makanannya. Habis ini Meru berhenti dulu, lanjutin bentar ya. Bentar. Kanzuma Asogi-san. Terima kasih atas donasinya. Kamu forever ganteng di mata Meru. Terima kasih Kazuma Asogi-san.
Makan nasi sama daging. Ini siapa sih yang donasi sebagai namanya Asogi?
Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why this sudden ingress into my courtroom?
Ha! A judicial assistant and a woman, no less.
Oh,
Ji. Udah makan belum? Kalau belum makan, segera pesen sebelum jam 12 malam. Auci, ngeselin ya, dasar. Ngeselin. Meru labrak. Ngejak berantem. The rules state that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify. Yes, I fully understand. I ask only for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense. Ha! You're too late, little girl. This trial has already been concluded.
5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more.
Your Excellency! I am most grateful. Bertiga dong.
Who exactly are you?
I'm sorry, there's no time. Please simply accept this for now.
What is this? A report about something written in English. It's Giselbrecht's research. The English woman?
After the trial resumed earlier. Sebentar. Dari Taketsuchi Auchi-san. Kak, aku juga mau disebutin namanya dong, my fair lady, please. GWS. Iya, Meru bias, terus kenapa? Thank you for the donation.
After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical faculty and brought his paper. Oh yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceeding of the trial myself.
Biarin.
Oh, no, of course not. Special characteristic of curare and its effects on human subjects. Interesting. Curare? What's that? I've never heard that word before.
Time's up. The prosecution demands immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom.
There was...
Bentar, Meru tunggu muncul di email dulu ya. Dari Reisang. Hi Meru, hi. Thank you for coming to my stream. Thank you for the donation.
There was too little time for me to read in detail, but I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eyes over it. This is wonderful, thank you.
Giselle's report have been entered into the court record.
Goodbye then, and good luck.
Oke, waktunya baca. Examine. A poison made from the bark of certain trees in the jungle of South America. The hunters of the region have used it since ancient times to capacitate their prey. Effects: instant paralysis of the entire body and subsequent death even in minute doses. The above-mentioned effect occur when the poison enters the body through a wound such as the inflicted by blowpipe dart. Due to its ability to render human paralytic, it is believed that the toxin could have application as anesthetic. A solution for respiration arrest caused as a result of full body paralysis must be found first, or patients would die of suffocation. Tapi harus masuk lewat luka ya. Oke, thank you. Thank you, Susato!
You have had long enough, Consul. We cannot detain our English guests any longer. I ask the prosecution and defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but...
The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency.
Yunosuke, we're out of option here. This really is our very last chance. Yes, I know.
Bilangnya adios ya.
Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence. That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett.
Yes, Your Excellency.
If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer.
It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not so very long until tea time. I must... Japanese!
Forgive me, Miss Brett. Seems I wasn't clear. I realized it was phrased as a question, however. I must ask you to treat that as an order.
I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense.
My apologies, dear lady. So, Consul? What is this new evidence that demands the court attention?
This one, right? Cuman ini yang baru, kan?
Miss Giselle Brett. You understand you were studying under Dr. Wilson at Yume University, doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence perhaps, into a deadly poison. What? Poison? Where are you going with this, Counsel? A toxin known as curare, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death.
Oh, dia sakit gigi. Meru lupa ada luka di dalam badannya. What complete and utter nonsense? Curare, you say?
I've never even heard of it. You wouldn't have done.
What do you mean?
I mean that you wouldn't have heard of curare before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist? Correct. Which means no matter what test the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify curare. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison. What?
Jadi beda kayak lukanya di mana? Kayak oh ya, right.
Order! Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report authored by the visiting research student from England,
let me correct you on that. Karena di medical reportnya, sure, yang ini kan, benar. Di medical report ini emang dibilang dia habis operasi. That's true. Tapi dalam waktu yang sama, belum ada bukti bahwa kita belum punya bukti pada saat tadi Meru ngomong kalau misalnya Meru tahu jalannya kemana, tapi Meru nggak tahu spesifiknya di mana. Meru tahu kalau misalnya sekarang poisonnya masuknya lewat luka. Tapi sebelumnya Meru kira poisonnya itu diminum. Karena poisonnya datangnya dari botol. The carbonated water. Yang kamu lakukan saat ini adalah nge-backseat. Meru tidak suka itu. Tolong jangan diulangi lagi. Meru udah pernah main ini sebenarnya. Enggak, bukan. Let me rephrase that. Meru udah tahu ceritanya ini. Meru udah tahu harus kemana. Meru maafin sekali ini karena Meru udah tahu ceritanya gimana. Kalau misalnya kamu tadi udah nge-backseat Meru dan Meru nggak tahu ceritanya kemana, Meru will actually get mad. You're lucky I know the story. You're very lucky. Meru ulangi sekali lagi ya. Meru memang nggak tulis di peraturan, tapi Meru berharap ini semuanya tahu. Meru tidak suka di backseat. Kalau misalnya Meru pengen tahu ceritanya, Meru akan cari tahu sendiri. Kalau misalnya Meru bingung jalannya kemana, biarin Meru bingung. So far Meru bisa ngerjain sendiri. Dan otak Meru bisa dipakai ya. Mohon maaf ya, Meru nggak goblok. Sorry. Jadi kalau kalian nge-backseat sama aja kalian nganggap Meru itu nggak punya otak dan Meru nggak bisa mikir sendiri. Oke? Please. Please don't do that. Anyway. Meru berkata kasar, tapi at this point Meru sudah gak peduli apapun. Meru paling benci di backseat. Kalau Meru di backseat, Meru beneran meledak. As you guys can see. Yeah. Ya ampun Meru. Malu. Meru tadi ngomong apa? Udahlah. Udahlah. Meru pengen selesaiin apa yang ini. Masalah yang ini. Bentar, minum dulu.
Curare has been long used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lay their arrows. It seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists.
To lay their arrows?
The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle. It was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by the arrows laced with curare suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Trumpery! These aspersions are utter trumpery! To start with, if the victim had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and breathing in pain, and other dentists would have surely noticed.
That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around.
What do you mean the other way around?
The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that curare was used. Explain yourself, Conso. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there will be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible! Obviously, if a man lost all strength in this muscle, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed.
I don't follow, Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death.
The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe it causes the muscle that control respiration to fail.
Respiration?
In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move.
Oh my god.
Ini poison? Sebentar, biar kok jadi penasaran deh. Ini poison beneran kah? Kurare. Beneran ada! Poisonnya beneran ada! Sebentar. Jadi harus masuk ke bloodstream, berarti darah. Ke pembuluh darah. Kalau misalnya diminum nggak ada masalah. Beneran ada tuh. I see. The more I know. That's hideous.
To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was sleeping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, these final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly kurare poison.
That's so dark. Gelap banget, oh my god. Ya, Meru baca tadi di sejarahnya dipakai buat anesthesia, tapi sudah diganti sekarang.
And you're suggesting that this bottle console actually contains this terrifying poison.
This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison to which there is no means of testing. What a happy tale for the defense!
If I may.
All these facts. You think you're so clever, but you must be taught. It is you who must be taught. Of course. Dear lady!
So, this is how you Geminis behave, is it?
What?
You sales another honest hard work and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. We then lost another act.
Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual.
Whatever do you mean?
Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime, that really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules.
What's so funny?
Oh, excuse me, Your Excellency?
Yes, Miss Brett?
May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please?
Well, yes, I don't see, why not?
Literally cuman air manis. Kalian nggak pernah minum cola yang nggak pernah yang apa fizznya udah hilang nggak sih? Manis banget. Don't get too big for your butt, you insignificant little island boys.
Sorry?
To an English woman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Iya, makanya kan cuman gula doang. Your little police games and this foolish court romantics is laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Yes. Wait! What are you doing?
No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair.
Fizzy water enak sih cuma air sama soda. Tapi kalau nggak ada sodanya cuma air dong. Kenapa nggak pilih yang kayak normal water? Lebih segar dari kalau gitu Meru bakal coba deh kapan-kapan sparkling water.
Oh goodness. Whatever is the matter, you all look quite stunned. So, no cry. The bottle was clean, is that what you're saying? You look quite incredulous, little boy, but of course, that's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting and the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue, most kind. Thank you, Vita. Now then, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett.
I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries.
Yes, your lady. We are most gratified with all the assistance you have given.
Ayo, ingat-ingat, baca lagi posnya.
This doesn't make any sense. There had to have been poison in the bottle.
So how did she
swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? Don't understand it.
Well, I suppose, if nothing else, this is a little far isn't true, right? We'll make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London.
There has to have been poison in the bottle, doesn't there? But there can have been, because otherwise she would have killed over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke, we have all the clues now. That bottle of water contains poison! The culprit did put curare poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water! The defense refused to change its position. You're serious?
Fool, are you blind? There is no possible way the bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw.
Miss Brett drinking the water from it.
That's right, which rather complicates your argument, I think.
And I believe that complication can be explained.
How exactly?
I need to think through all the things that don't quite appear, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence that we have in the court record somewhere. It has to be. Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume this supposedly poison water unscathed?
Oke, harusnya sih bisa report. Masih salah pencet. Harusnya pencet R.
The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report.
That's not a valid explanation.
No?
After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. This important young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency.
I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. I'm just reading Susan's notes. I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. You will direct us to the pertinent section console.
I think it was practical. Practical nggak sih? Oh, bukan. Entry berarti? And special characteristic? Yeah, special characteristic ya. Court record. Ya, special characteristic. 6. This one, Your Honor. Yeah.
We've been hearing a lot about this curare poison. And it's left me curious about something. Oh, Consul? Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years to list the head of the arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat.
Get to the point, please!
But if they were to use these lace arrows, doesn't that mean there would have been traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Good gracious, Consul, no, that would be madness. And I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristic, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense. Yes, the mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When curare enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever. What? Miss Brett, you authored this research. You knew curare's special characteristic. And you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself. You meddling little... Ah! Hidup! Reptilian! Guys, angsanya hidup. Guys, angsanya hidup. I thought... Meru kira nggak hidup. Well, that's awkward. Well, you know, it turns out.
Iya. Kayak begitu. Ya, nasib berarti.
You're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be.
Really? Me?
A lawyer?
Oh, all this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure. But I fail to see how it possibly... So, the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly.
What are you trying to say?
Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw.
Schoolboyish? Flaw?
As even your brain has managed to deduce curare is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric succus.
Oh, yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers? What are they?
So, if this little poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he? That's right!
Good gracious!
That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no?
Oh, that's where you're wrong, my lady. Ha 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 ha. Order in the court, order! The logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way. Are you trying to suggest?
Yes, this great poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial. That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that.
What is this welling up inside me? I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the irresponsibility. So intense, almost rage-like. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey.
Oh, let's go! Ah! Yay! That objection!
I don't think so, Miss Giselle Brett.
Oh, how dare you use that tone with me?
You know very well that there is no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead.
The pose!
Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you must provide compelling evidence. As we know now that poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the curare? As Miss Pratt so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between two diners. A fatal difference. The toxic effect of curare are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injury, drinking it is completely harmless. But what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poison water?
Inside?
Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example.
Ah!
Miss Pratt, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware that Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You used that knowledge to orchestrate this. Is he laughing? I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are all super real. What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy, you'll find out soon. You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No! I mean, it could just slip.
Oh my god!
Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed.
No! What just happened? This English woman just smashed that bottle!
Pecahin botol. Ah, fun six.
Yeah, she just did that!
Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect as much as the water from that at once! You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover it.
How could you? You won't get away with this!
You can thumb the bench and shut as much as you like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in that bottle or not.
And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution? Oh, of course. You're referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady? That's right. And really, looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So of course, the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
No, you killed the victim that day using curare. And then, in order to frame you to get Nurut for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor and his chair around. You see? You had every opportunity to commit this crime.
What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say, and I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Oh, well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence. Exactly! And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution stands remain unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by accused Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her, but now... Is she really going to get away with it? The way she destroyed that evidence was obscene. Ryunosuke! Yes? We've come this far, but now... Now you're the only one who can finish it. What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true, so... If there are any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head. In my head? You told me before that your power of observation were the one thing you could really depend on. Well, yes, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell.
What I saw, what I felt. Every color. Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of the same scene in my head. Could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue.
You always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Yume? Come on then, let's wipe the smug smile off that English woman's face with some evidence.
Alright, I can wait. It's been niggling me for a while as something feels amiss in my memories of that day. Iya, emang suka playing victim. Whatever it is could be the key to arriving at the truth about all this. It's here somewhere. Who that shows Dr. Wilson the real killer must have been? The blood? Harusnya kan kalau misalnya senjatanya itu ditembak, kalau misalnya posisinya kayak gini ya, ditembak straight to his chest, harusnya nggak ada darah di sini. Soalnya nggak ada exit wound, pelurunya nggak keluar dari badannya dari badannya korban. Jadi harusnya nggak ada darah di sana. Yang mungkin adalah kalau dia ditembak point blank, ketika dia ngadep dagingnya, darahnya cuma bisa nyasar lewat situ. Dan is the only way. Jadi, jawabannya adalah this blood stain.
Inspector Hosonaga, answer me this. Yes? What is it? He's still miles away, probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfections in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of the steak that you took to the victim's table that day.
Wait a minute, where are you going with this, little boy?
It's just a memory that's been troubling me.
What memory?
I saw the scene shown in this photographic frame with my own eyes that day. And I saw that on the wooden base of the plate that the steak was served on was a spattering of blood.
What?
Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of the steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him. Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter. Which means the shooter must have been sitting on the opposite side of the professor as you were. Is that correct?
I beg your pardon! This is beyond ridiculous! Fabricated nonsense! Is the court seriously expected to believe something the accused has apparently just remembered seeing?
This could be the moment that my entire career in the police force has been leading to. It's so British, they need to make it cursive. Amin, dari tadi emang pas bagiannya dia ngomong bahasa Inggris full itu tulisannya cursive semua. Inspector, you mean... Yes.
Oh! Ada pose baru lagi!
Yes, I took the plate in the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all. I don't care if they call me crime scene thief because of it.
You did what?
I took the steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the surgeon had been eating. Yeah, Sanaga klepto, and I did it all in the name of justice. Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a blood stain on Miss Brett's plate. We must examine it now!
Long live justice! Yes.
Inspector! The court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. Yes, sir!
Yes, sir. Okay.
Sorry for the delay. Here is what you ordered to steak. Well, what about blood? Is there blood on it?
Of course there isn't.
Quickly, Inspector, the blood, man! Show the court! Of course, examine the plate at your leisure.
No blood!
Kok gak ada darahnya? Harusnya ada. No blood. No blood anywhere. But no, that's possible! I know I saw it, I'm sure of it! It was right there on the table behind the professor. There was blood on the side of the plate.
What's an unbecoming expression, little boy? You see, this is why I always say you can trust what the Japanese tell you. Ha! I couldn't agree more in the case of this disgrace to the empire.
I believe we may finally reach a conclusion in this trial.
Let's hope so. This let's pretend attempt at courtroom proceeding is painful to watch.
Bau-bau konspirasi ya kayaknya.
But I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over. Ha! This sorry-looking state reveals the fact all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again, be my guest.
Oh ya,
Certainly. Kalau misalnya dibolehin, Meru akan cek. Terima kasih. Alah. Plate. Examine. Check. Huh?
look, wait. What is this?
I think it's the Koban coin, and the hallmark is from the Hoei era, I believe.
No, I don't mean what is it. I mean, what's it doing there?
Wait, did you say it was a Hoei Koban? Yes, and apart from the mid-dresses, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. This isn't the first time today that there's been talk of a Hoei Koban. I've heard of florals before swine, but I've never heard of bullion in Boilan. And I don't think you ever will again. This is extraordinary though. This means...
Di baliknya ada sesuatu nggak?
This emblem on the side of the plate. Is it a cat?
It's a cow, obviously. Most likely because the restaurant signature dish is a beefsteak. Biarin, orang ganteng mah dibolehin apa aja kayaknya.
It seems a lot of different restaurants have their own unique tableware. So this is a symbol of luck carnival, is it?
Okay. Oke, nggak ada apa-apa lagi. Oke, sip.
This is it now. I've lost. Yunosuke, it's not over yet. Not until the final gamble. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward no matter what.
Ya, bisa yuk, Rinnosuke. Yuk, bisa yuk.
Believe in myself? Really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. As the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way, I presume any further examination of evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Does the defense have any objection? That Punten was going to clinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all?
There's another clue.
Your Excellency, please wait. The place of beef is hiding another clue. Another clue that will reveal the shocking truth.
The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beefsteak.
Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I?
I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial.
I'm sorry, Miss Wright, but we must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled. I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it? Thank you, Your Excellency. Counsel for the defense, you will now clearly show the court to what you are alluding. Where precisely on this beef steak is this new clue to be found?
I guess Meru bisa pilihnya di sini.
No, console. I'm afraid that won't do. That was ambiguous at best. Where you asked whether it could tell a case, you must know.
Penalty? Oh no. Bentar. Turn this take over and over until I find something to help me out of this mess. Oke. Tadi nggak ada pilihannya. Do not show what you are alluding. Oh, harus nggak itu di itunya. Meru tata harus pencet space dulu. Kita udah baca ini. Wait, did you say it was a koban? Ya, ini koin yang dicari sama si bapak-bapak tak kemarin. Tadi. I've never heard of bullion in Boylan. And I don't think you ever will again. Itu gampang. Emang gampang. Lihat deh. Bentar. Kurai.
Good gracious, that's...
Koba?
What on earth? Oh, era wondered that. Miss Brett, this is in fact the beef steak that you ordered at the restaurant on the day in question, is it? Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat?
What a ridiculous question! How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what it is, but I want no part of it. I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin under the meat? That could simply be a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction.
Don't be absurd. We are supposed to believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen? A rare Hoi Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak? If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now.
That's right. It can be a coincidence. Your Excellency.
Yes, Consul?
A rare Hoi Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give up my lawyer job right now. By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway. Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it is you who is irrelevant.
Even though I'm the one who's on trial here?
The point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if we can explain what it's doing under that steak.
The owner?
Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. The owner of the koban that was found underneath the beef steak was... this dude! Obviously, it can only be the antique dealer and owner of Raste Curio, Kurekuta-san. You eat as in Mr. Cucumber something? Honestly, this ridiculous Japanese name are quite unfathomable. Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military surgeon, right? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying that he was up to something with his koban coin when it happened. Exactly the moment the gun was fired. The gunshot interests me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Indeed, the holy Era Koban, my prayers coin.
And this whole era Koban, do you mean to tell me?
No, please. Why Kurikuta-san's koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and its plate? It makes no sense! Oh, the ganteng slum.
Which is why I'm asking you to bring Kurikuta-san back to the witness stand so we can ask him. Officer, bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay.
Let's go! Final stretch! Final stretch!
I can't believe we've come back around to that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this koban, we'll find that it's a key element to this case.
Final stretch! Final stretch! Let's go! Let's go! Full team! Full team!
Meru pakai no usah pakai suara apa? What's all this about? Why have I been called up again? Don't you realize that it's dinner time for my little baby idol? When my son's belly is empty, he's a fiercer than a pack of wolves!
Exploited by the police, we were like miserable dogs supposed to bear false witness. And when cast from this courtroom myself, I became a rude man in the thrice a worthless, withered antique. No demora have I have to say. The sun has set on this rusty shop owner's existence.
Be that as it may, Kurikuta-san, something has come to light that requires your clarification. As far as your Rasute memory serves, have you ever
Yes, that's it. The one, the very exact one that it is. The resplendent, splendiferous, holy treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day. Can be.
as I thought.
Young man, enlighten this decrepit old fool. Pull me out of my mystery. Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped?
Oh, I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwich between a beefsteak and its bones, soaking in the seasoned meat juices.
Sandwich? Soaking? Seriously?
Really, it could have been fallen there by accident. Which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose.
Somebody concealed my holy treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate. Who would do such things? Such unconscionable thing!
Excuse me, could I say something?
Yes, of course.
Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga. I mentioned this earlier in the trial, but I was working undercover at the restaurant in order to investigate another case.
Ah, yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation.
La Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy dinners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similar executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. We wanted to nip the case in the bud, especially with so many foreigners being affected. So that's why you were sent in undercover, is it? Yes, I took on the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminals. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief. So unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. The place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Korekutan-sang Koban is all too clear.
What?
What? Oh wait, wrong voice. I think the court would like to hear the defense view on this matter. Tell us who is the despicable scoundrel that stole Kurikuta-san's koban and hid it under the stake. It's this dude.
Cuman ada Nosa.
Obviously. It can only be you. Sergeant Yesanosa? What? How dare you, you monster! Monster? I stole that cup and did I? I'm the master chef. I'm the master thief of La Carnival, am I? You're seriously accusing me of these crimes, get it? But it wasn't me, it was Idol! Idol is the mastermind behind all of this.
Bukan Master Thief. Yang salah bayinya, gengs.
You will push the blames for your crimes onto your own son, an innocent little baby? It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Osa!
Ya dilempar ke anaknya, oh my god. That's so dumb.
Wah! Criminal clock!
Aduh punggungnya.
Nippon Imperial Army, Sergeant Yesanosa preparing to stand down in Supreme Court, sir.
That was one of the best breakdown.
Yeah. Do any of you know of the extraordinarily low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays those it expects to keep our country safe? I understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remains in place. And I have heard it's it's hard for lower ranking soldiers to make a living, yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son.
That's why you were stealing things at the resort.
The place is heaving with money. Every 3 days I'd go there and do reconnaissance for a target. And I'd enjoy jumping my way through a good steak at the same time.
Yeah. Budak korporat. It sounds like he doesn't bother with a steak or fork even, which is worryingly believable.
And your target that day was the old man and his koban. Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all.
A veritable phantom thief you are.
I was all set to leave the stake when I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Yes, when the professor was shot. I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd finish. I do too. So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could. On the top, I slipped it under the stake, hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date.
Kenapa diam semua?
This is ridiculous.
Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling on your own time?
Well, Miss Brett?
Oh, of course, there's the lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. May the esteemed gentleman please be excused, Your Excellency!
Indeed. The theft of the koban was clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled surgeon. It would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder.
No. Of course it is. Hiding a coin under the lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me.
Nonsense, is it? Well, oof. And as for picking up your stick and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's pure nonsense. It's pure madness. Oh, very well. Now that all questions concerning this witness testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Good luck, everyone.
And good day. Ya, jadi kayaknya dia makannya antara ditusuk pakai garpu terus digigit gitu, atau dia megangnya pakai tangan terus di onyong gitu. Which is worrying, honestly. Kayaknya Meru pernah bilang deh, apa namanya, on day one, kan itu kan katanya kan the steaknya dia, katanya kan dari awal kan itu kan established as steaknya the gentlewoman kan. Terus habis itu Meru kayak bayangin, itu berarti the gentlewoman apakah makannya kayak gigit kayak gitu. Cuma kalau misalnya dibalik itunya ada koinnya, berarti harusnya itu plate-nya bukan punya dia nggak sih? Ya nggak sih?
Ryunosuke, what's the matter with you? This is no time for daydreaming.
Oh, no, it's just
Something about Miss Brett's parting word there got me thinking. I can't quite work out what exactly, but something she said jarred with me. I feel like there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up. Emang dia ngomong apa?
oh, picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork. Itu kah?
If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking. Make your voice heard.
Sorry?
You can think later, but if you don't call out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over.
Wait, Miss Brett! What is it now?
I'm afraid I just one last time. There's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting word from just a few moments ago. What are you talking about? What in contradiction?
What new student nonsense is this?
Well, what parting words are you talking about, Ryunosuke? Fighting a coin in under a lump of meat. The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me.
And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's pure nonsense. It's pure madness.
Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction. I'm going to need to see evidence also. If Miss Brett's words truly are contradictory, where is the evidence to prove it?
Ini kan?
The steak that Miss Brett had been eating before the professor was killed. Yes, go on.
More accurately, Your Excellency,
The steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed.
now you're just beating hair.
Not true. Doesn't something about this steak strike you as very unnatural?
Unnatural? What on earth do you mean?
It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten.
I see you've noticed too,
Miss Brett. Notice what exactly, Console?
Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman could even contemplate picking up a stick and biting into it without using a knife and fork. Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself.
Then take a good look at the steak, in particular the edge where it's been eaten.
As you can see, there's clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there. Ah! Oh! Ah!
It looks like Miss Brett has realized something.
Ah, the ganteng slam.
So, if the witness, as she claimed, would contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth mark in the steak at all.
But what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Bread was very... whatever you said, lady.
As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer.
Of course. This will all be over in the blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. Just leave everything. I've heard enough. You irritating little spectacle, you summer relic. Of course. Dear lady!
What's the matter, Miss Fred? Have we ruffled your feathers? Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She realized the catastrophic implication that these teeth marks in the steak have for her.
Angsanya hidup, ya.
Ryunosuke, do you know where you're going with this? Yes. Now at last it's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in the steak that had allegedly been eaten by COURTROOM. The reason why the plot said I know I saw somehow seemed to have disappeared. And most importantly, evidence that will once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day. Except that these teeth marks in the steak are a little unnatural, as you put it, Counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tell us? Everything, Your Excellency.
Everything?
Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson.
Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase. Typical Japanese empty threats.
How can you be so sure?
Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the little court long ago.
Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet.
Hello. Hasn't been? What?
But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist.
This is absurd! The trial has run several hours already and you said there's evidence yet to be brought forward? There can be! I don't believe you have it!
I don't! But there is someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case. Very well, I have a feeling this will be my last request of defense in this trial. Who possesses the conclusive evidence that will reveal the truth about this whole affair?
Also, Naga, you were the one who has it. The slam!
The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga. What? I have it? Yes. You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? That's ridiculous.
Wah, sudah emang kelakuan. I mean, kalau kayak ini aja, I guess hitungannya 4,5 jam ya ngerjain case ini.
No, I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on this steak with the teeth marks. Yes. Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Noza told the court the following. I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak. And as well as admitting to stealing Korekuta's coin, he told us that he slipped it under the steak. You watch it, get it. I'm a superior officer. Sergeant Noza, could you please confirm something for me? Was the steak that you put the coin under, in fact, your own steak? Then shoot! Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign jet lady if she'd mind me manhandling her meal to hide something in it.
In other words, the steak that detective submitted as evidence earlier was in fact Surgeon Nose's meal.
Apa sih panjang?
That makes no sense! That plate was taken from the victim's table!
Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor did she have any opportunity to steal the coin.
Of course I didn't steal it! To even suggest such thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire!
Well then, how do you explain this paradox?
Exactly! Surely you're not going to suggest that the surgeon switched the two steaks over!
Well,
Kamu udah ngomong. You did switch the plates!
well, after it happened, when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my spade and hid the coin underneath it. But then, when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought I had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, then that would be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. So, well, then the cadet here was arrested and taken off the kitchen. I seized my chance. With military precision and timing, I switched my steak and with the one on the foreign lady's table.
What? You can't have! I never saw you do such a thing!
It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategy planning. It was do or die, I tell you. So yes, I did what had to be done.
Unbelievable!
However, fear not, prosecutor-san.
What now?
I swear on the brass button on my uniform, that is all I did, sir.
Oh, you did that split decision! Oh!
So, if Surgeon knows that switched the plates over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak and the plate it was on back to his own table. Yes, that follows. Inspector Hosonaga? Yes? Earlier in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the surgeon's. That, to preserve evidence, you had taken both.
Ah!
That's correct. Then, please present it to the court now.
Hey!
The plate that was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot.
What can that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of lamb meat, it can have the slightest bearing on the case.
No, you're not wriggling your way out of this time, lady.
I beg your pardon.
Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why the steak pan promises to prove such a problem for you. No?
You're the one who decided it was a problem, not me.
The reason the defense asked to see that place was to confirm something the defendant remembers seeing.
Thanks!
He remembers. I'm quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brett. On the side of the plate that was on the table directly behind Dr. Wilson, there was a clear spattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. And now we have the evidence to prove it. The plate you were eating from, Miss Brett. Let us not prolong this any further. Inspector, you will show the evidence to the court. Present the beefsteak and the plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident.
Kali ini kamu juga gak bisa mecahin piringnya, sayang. Nggak bisa mecahin piringnya. Yes, sir. Well. Sorry for keeping you. Well. Here is the other steak and its plate. Please feel free to examine it. Well. The blood stain. It's clearly visible. Look. Good evening. Bukan kecap. Bukan kecap. Bukan saus. Bukan saus tomat. Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the table shows that at the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for Naruhodo-san to have shot the victim. It can't be! In fact, there's only one person who could have possibly shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. That's right, Miss Giselle Pratt. It's you. Oh, don't. By a Japanese? Me? By a Japanese schoolboy? No. Yeah! Ada anak angsa. Terbang. Dia terbang. Salah satu breakdown sprite yang Meru paling suka dari satu series itu this one because you freaking flew. Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me. Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth this time. Gladly, Your Excellency. It was I who took the professor's life using karate. As you surmised, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The professor had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning. So you planned to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water. Because karate is unheard of in Japan. Yes. Of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water and the war will be over. I would place the steak I had ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he had been dining alone, and leave immediately, however. Before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor to the professor's table. That would be me, I suppose. Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter, but the fact that you decided to come over to greet the professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. Made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back after that point, so I concocted a plan and on the spur of the moment.
A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man.
I happened to know that the professor always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of curare in my handbag. And my own pistol concealed under my skirt. Under your skirt?
So I was right. There were 2 guns.
Yes.
And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor. Place where you were sure that I would notice.
And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun as I intended. And then, just as you bent down to pick it up,
That's when you shot the professor with your own gun, even though at that point he was already dead.
naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared.
Obviously, I assumed Naruhodo-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside.
That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor and his chair around.
Because, of course, you needed to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he picked up the gun.
Oh my god. So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Your Excellency,
Yes,
I wonder. Might I speak with you in private later?
I shall call on you.
Thank you. Good day then, everyone. I hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo-san. Kemana? Oh, ke jail cell kah? Ya emang. I mean, udah kayak fakta Ace Attorney sih. The judge itu sim, prosecutornya juga sim, kecuali kalau misalnya prosecutornya itu somehow connected to the main character in any way. Untuk maksudnya tuh defense ya. For example, I mean itu kayak actually hubungan lebih dari cuman lawan gelut prosecutor, lawan gelut di courtroom. Misalnya Miles Edgeworth itu kan dia kan temennya si Phoenix kan dulu, jadi dia bukan sim. Terus habis itu Clavier juga punya hubungan khusus teman kan sama Apollo. Terus habis itu Simon di game yang berikutnya itu ada hubungan sama Athena. Terus habis itu siapa sih, Nayuta itu ada hubungan juga sama Apollo. Jadi kayak selama kamu punya hubungan dengan di luar courtroom dengan the main character, kalau punya hubungan di luar itu sama defense attorney-nya, kemungkinan besar you're not going to be the sim of the witness. Iya, tapi kalau dipikirin lagi, rata-rata attorney punya, rata-rata prosecutor punya hubungan sama defense attorney-nya ya. Ada satu yang Meru gak sebutin tapi itu spoiler. Tapi dia juga punya hubungan sama di itunya. Simnya Ace Attorney. Udah dibilangin kok, Meru kan emang simnya. Meru main Ace Attorney The Trilogy. Terus habis itu tahu ceritanya yang main sama yang keempat juga, yang Apollo Justice. Yang kelima itu cuma nonton, yang keenam juga cuma nonton. Soalnya yang kedua ini kan belum rilis yang di PC kan. Jadi Meru gak bisa main dulu. Jadi baru main yang sampai nomor 4. Terus habis itu Meru main Miles Edgeworth Investigation nomor 1 sama 2. Terus habis itu sekarang Meru main The Great Ace Attorney. Jadi intinya Meru udah nyentuh semua seriesnya Ace Attorney honestly. Kok dibilang sim? Understatement of the year.
It would seem this trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement.
This can be. Taketsuchi Aoki does not lose. Not to like of this rookie student.
You better start getting used to tough opposition.
Rinosuke Naruhodo.
Yes?
This insult to the Aoki family name will never be forgotten.
You become considered with age, counsel, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that.
Selamat malam.
1,000 millennia may pass, and still, the Ouchi clan will never measure up to the Naruto clan.
Ini dia kutukannya. Ini dia kutukannya. Tidak akan pernah menang dari Naruto clan. So forever losing, forever losing. Gak akan menang, gak bakalan pernah menang kamu. Dia tuh menggunakan kekuatan cahaya dan sound wave untuk memotong rambutnya Aochi.
This trial in the Supreme Court of Japan will, I believe, go down in history as this new start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system.
Hello.
Despite bullying someone as accused, you, Yunosuke Naruhodo, presented an excellent case.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern methodology. After all, it has only been a few short decades since our country opened its door to the wider world.
Semangat streamnya, thank you.
But the Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. A new future of law awaits, but what it will look like, I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young Vtubers. Kazuma Asogi. Yes? After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all you can, observe everything of the wider world that you are able to. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. I understand, Your Excellency. What was that about? Why do you look so grave all of a sudden? Never mind. As for you, Yunosuke Naruhodo.
Oh, yes?
In you, I sense, how can I put it? Unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that onward.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
It is time to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant, Yunosuke Naruhodo,
Not guilty! Wah! Oh, dilempar
This court is now adjourned.
Kalau di gamenya trilogy biasanya lemparnya konfeti. Cuman konfeti belum exist kayaknya di sini. Masih belum. Masih ada closing statementnya. Terus habis itu, waktu udah mau masuk ke chapter 2, Meru akhiri streamnya. Karena sudah mau 3 jam 30 menit.
I can't believe it. I can't believe what happened.
Nggak, ini masih 3 jam sih. Masih 3 jam 30 menit. Tapi, stream yang satunya tuh 1 jam 1 jam 30-40 menitan. Jadi ya, kayaknya sekitar 5 jam, I guess. Ya, udah 3 jam.
I made it. I defended myself and made it through the horrendous trial. Yunosuke, you finally pulled it off. Congratulations.
Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Kazuma.
No, it was a pleasure to watch your artwork. So, you owe me an extra large sukiyaki from the place on Yume University Street. Don't forget. Good afternoon. All your hard work has certainly paid off.
Oh, ternyata itu satu. Congratulations to both of you for proving Naruhodo-san's innocence.
Our trusty judicial assistant. You worked hard for that result too, you know.
Oh no, I didn't do anything. Thank you so much. If you hadn't had that research report of me spread, I wouldn't know. I don't know how things would have turned out. Your kind words should really be for my father. I was simply doing as he asked. It was his idea for me to go to the university and investigate.
Your father?
Ah, yes, of course. Forgive me for intruding on course proceeding, Your Excellency. Shisato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Speaking of Mikotoba...
There you are. I believe congratulations are in order. Naruhodo, you did an excellent job.
Thank you, Professor.
Oh no, it is I who should be thanking you, after all. Your efforts exposed the true criminal that took the life of my good friend.
Good friend? Oh, yes, you mentioned that before. It was you actually invited Dr. Wilson to Yume University, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Professor Mikotoba studied overseas himself. He went to study forensic medicine in Great Britain. Presumably, that's when you met Dr. Wilson. Exactly. In those days, we worked together in the same hospital.
Oh, you worked together?
I've never heard you mention that before. Well, it was a long time ago now, besides. It's your turn, Asogi. Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world in science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course in law. Watch and learn, my boy. See what's happening in the world's largest melting pot.
I will. I'll learn all that I can.
I swear on this, the spirit of Asogi clan. You're not taking that sword to the Great Britain, are you? Of course I am. A Japanese man's katana is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go. And cuts down anything that's in my way. Yes, I've definitely seen how sharp it is already with my own eyes. That reminds me, what's happened to the woman? Who you sell bread, I mean. After all, she's guilty of murder. Ah, yes, her. It's not easy to tell you this, but...
What do you mean? Surely she's going to face trial herself now. She's the true culprit, after all.
She will be leaving Japan in the very near future. For Shanghai.
What? Shanghai?
Giselle Brett will not appear in the court again in this country. I'm certain of that.
What? Why not? It's a matter of consular jurisdiction.
Oh,
Inspector Hosonaga!
It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today. Very impressive to watch. I must congratulate... But what was all about consular jurisdiction?
Oh, thank you for the donation. Bentar. Dari Davi Badarudin Sang. Tutorial yang sangat panjang tapi asyik sih. Ya, ini tutorial yang paling panjang di apa namanya di game Ace Attorney honestly. Bahkan kayak case-nya yang kayak di apa namanya Miles Edgeworth itu tuh nggak sepanjang ini tutorialnya. Remember to hydrate. Ya, minum kok, don't worry. Thank you for the donation, Davi Badarudi Sang. Ya.
We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan. What? We can try her? But then, who's going to bring her to justice? A British consular court will hear her case. Somewhere far away where our voices can be heard. But why a consular court? Professor, I simply don't understand. I thought consular courts were a thing of the past now that we signed the friendship treaty. Yes, in normal circumstances, you're right. Then, so long as this is not a serious incident of a highly political nature of our respective governments, they can invoke a consular court just like that. Oh, can they? Yes, she's a student, but it doesn't justify our governments making secret agreements about her fate, does it? Something strange is going on. So Miss Brett can be held accountable for her action here in Japan. I'm afraid that for the young student, today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. There was never any danger of comeuppance to her. I don't believe it. The British government's Foreign Affairs Ministry has demanded that we hand over the custody of Miss Brett. They're obviously taking this case of a foreign student committing murder very seriously. But it's all going to change from now on. We can make it change. This is a time of great turmoil. This new era heralded by the start of the 20th century. One day I have no doubt that a woman will receive the judgment she deserves. Yes, change is coming, and we're the ones driving it. Well, I think that's enough seriousness for now. This evening calls for a celebratory drink. But Professor... You're right, this is no time for gloomy faces. We should be celebrating Yunosuke's not guilty verdict. Let's start having some fun. In that case, might I suggest La Carnival? As the head waiter, I should be delighted to provide you with ample food and drink. You're Detective Hosonaga-san, aren't you? Let's not worry about that detail for now. To La Carnival! Will you accompany us, Professor? Of course, La Carnival's food is second to none.
I shall go and attend the paperwork for Naruhodo-san's release.
Oh, yes, thank you. So Giselle Brett won't be tried here. I suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson. Azuma. Yes, Ryunosuke? I just wanted to say thanks again, that's all. You really saved my skin today. Ha 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 ha! I didn't do a thing! You were the lawyer in there, weren't you? That defense was all your own work! Your skill made a difference though. One day, I bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world. I'm not too sure about that. To be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over again during that trial. I couldn't help thinking that maybe you're the one destined to become a great lawyer, not me. What? Come on, be serious! If I helped you today, it was only right at the start of the trial. But you have a natural talent for it, for being a defense lawyer, I mean.
Oh no, not me. All that tense verbal combat, I never want to go through that ever again.
I did what you told me to do, that's all. Because I knew I could trust you. That's the point.
Sorry? What do you mean, that's the point?
Listen, Ryunosuke. Do you know what the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win?
Knowledge of the law?
No, the ability to believe.
To believe? To believe what?
Defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has to believe in them at all times.
Like you believe in me when I said I can do it.
I'm human, just like you. I don't have some superhuman ability to know the truth. But you have to make a choice about what to believe in, stick to it when you're defending someone. Sometimes in the courtroom, you can't really be backed into a corner. But being able to remain faithful to what you choose to believe in even then, well, that's not something that anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person.
Believing in your client.
Just look at today's trial. I'm a student lawyer with a precious little real experience, but you never stop believing in me.
Well,
You face seemingly hopeless situations time and time again, but you never stop looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it. Through your own efforts. And because you never stopped believing in me.
Thanks, Kazuma. What's that face for? Kenapa mukamu kayak gitu, Kazuma?
There's something I want to ask you actually, Ryunosuke. Well, it's a favor, really. Something very important to me. It sounds very serious. What is... Ah, you're still here, are you?
Oh, Inspector Hosonaga.
I've arranged some rickshaws for us. Let's go. Thank you. We'll be right there. Let's pick up this conversation again later. We should be celebrating right now. Your first court victory.
And yours to return to Great Britain, don't forget.
Yes, that too.
Enggak, case keduanya yang pasti nggak hari ini.
So my very first trial came to an end.
Kazuma.
Professor Mikotoba.
Susato-san, who acted as my assistant.
Inspector Hosonaga, who didn't really play much of a part, still. It was because of the help and support of all these people that I managed to get through all that trial. But more importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize just how much it would change my life.
First case done! And let's go! Woo, 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 woo! Yes! Yes, I'm done. Oke. Ini case nomor 2. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckle Pen. But kita nggak akan mainin hari ini karena Meru tenggorokannya dying after 3 jam streaming. Yeay. Oh, wait. Yes. Yeah, I'm done. Yay! We finished that case. Woo, akhirnya. Woo. Jadi, tadi itu case-nya tentang seperti yang kalian tahu, yaitu tadi tuh ada bit kayak yang bagian tadi yang kayak little did I know it will change my life. Ya udah beneran penasaran sih. Tapi I will put this
and another day karena suara Meru tidak bisa handle another round of voice acting. Kalau Meru pengen jagain tenggorokan Meru. Oke, Meru kan bilang awalnya besok itu mau coba streaming Tower of Fantasy ya besok ya. However, ternyata things come up dan Meru nggak bisa safely stream that day. Kalaupun bisa, kemungkinan besar cuma bisa malam atau nggak bisa sama sekali. Karena Meru nggak pasti sama jamnya dimana Meru harus pergi, kayak gitu. Jadi Meru minta maaf, besok kayaknya nggak bisa stream. Minggu juga kayaknya nggak bisa. Tapi Senin, minggu depan Meru bakal ada stream karaoke. Celebrating salah satu fandom lamanya Meru, yaitu Kagero Project. Meru akan nyanyiin semua lagu yang ada di album yang paling pertama. Nanti kayaknya Meru sebaiknya istirahat suara total ya, biar karaoke-nya bisa lancar ya. Ya, mereka ini tuh lagunya kayak ada yang kayak super high, ada yang super low. Jadi Meru kayak bakal pusing ini nanti mikirin gimana. Oke, jadi itu dulu. Pokoknya kesel banget masihan. Anyway, terima kasih sudah datang, sudah nemenin Meru, sudah ya itulah pokoknya kita akan main Ace Attorney lagi entah kapanpun Meru ada pemilih buat main, I guess. Ya, oke. Kayaknya Meru sudah baca semua donasi, Meru juga sudah semuanya. Jadi kalau begitu Meru undur diri dulu. Terima kasih semuanya sudah datang. Meru will see you in another day. Thank you, goodbye, good night. Oyasu Meru, bye bye. Tapi sejujurnya sumpah lagunya Ace Attorney itu kayak Meru, coba Meru yang bisa dengar lagunya sekarang. Tapi lagunya spicy sekali. Masih The Great. Guys, coba dengerin kayak the whole album of The Great Ace Attorney soundtrack karena spicy. Anyway, okay, that's all from me. Meru lupa buka YouTube-nya. Oke. Oke, bye bye.